Viewer discretion is advised.
Can you please remind me why I'm the most luckiest dad ever?
Yeah, because you got the smartest girl in the whole world.
This morning, authorities are confirming the remains found in Ohio are that of Hamilton County's Hailey Buzbee.
The 17-year-old was reported missing from Fishers last month. An Ohio prosecutor now says that an official autopsy report does verify her identity.
There's an app called Session, end-to-end encrypted, based in Switzerland, designed so that no one, not even law enforcement, can trace your messages. And a 39-year-old man used it to plan the abduction and murder of a 17-year-old girl. His name was Tyler Thomas. Her name was Hailey Buzbee. And what he did to her, it's the kind of thing that makes you never want your kids online again. I'm about to show you 3 details in this case that'll make your blood run cold. We're talking premeditated meetings months before she disappeared, encrypted communications designed to hide his tracks, and a burial that took nearly 5 hours to complete. But before I get into that, if Hailey's story matters to you, if you think parents need to see this warning about online predators, hit that like button. Not for me, for her. Because awareness is how we stop the next predator. Let's make sure she didn't disappear for nothing. Hailey Buzbee was 17 years old, a junior at Hamilton Southeastern High School in Fishers, Indiana. She worked at a family-owned restaurant in Fortville. She loved gaming, League of Legends, Roblox, the kind of games millions of teenagers play every single day. Her family described her as smart, beautiful, kind. She had her whole life ahead of her. But somewhere in those gaming lobbies, in Discord voice chats, a predator was watching, waiting. Tyler Thomas, 39 years old, living in Columbus, Ohio, about 2 hours away from Hailey's home, and for over a year he groomed her, built trust, planned everything. On January 5th, 2026, around 10 p.m., Hailey was home. By the early morning hours of January 6th, somewhere between 3 and 3:30 a.m., she was gone. Her parents woke up to find a note. It said she'd run away, asked them not to search for her. That note? It wasn't Hailey's idea. It was part of the plan. Okay, so here's the first thing that'll mess you up about this case. This wasn't some spontaneous thing. Tyler Thomas didn't just convince Hailey to leave in January. He'd been meeting her in person for months before that. Bank records show that on June 5th, 2025, 7 months before Hailey disappeared, Thomas made purchases at a gas station near Knightstown, Indiana. And get this, also at the restaurant in Fortville where Hailey worked. He was there, in person, at her job. Photos recovered from his phone show the two of them together in his vehicle back in July 2025. One image shows someone with hair similar to Hailey's leaning on him inside the car. Let that sink in for a second. This dude drove from Columbus to Indiana multiple times. He showed up at her workplace. He built a relationship with her face-to-face while her parents had no idea. According to court documents, Thomas admitted he'd been communicating with Hailey for over a year through gaming platforms, League of Legends and Roblox. But it wasn't just gaming chat. They were talking on Discord, Snapchat, and most importantly, Session. Session is this encrypted messaging app based in Switzerland. It's advertised as completely anonymous, decentralized, private routing, end-to-end encryption. The kind of app where no server ever knows both the sender and receiver of a message. And Thomas knew exactly what he was doing with it. Well, during his interview with detectives, he told them that Session requires a specific code to access account data. He implied that deleting that code would prevent law enforcement from viewing the messages. He thought he was untraceable. Court documents also reveal something even more disturbing. Thomas admitted that he and Hailey originally planned for him to pick her up around Christmas, but they pushed it to January. He was patient, methodical, calculating. In one exchange between them, Hailey mentioned she was in 10th grade. Thomas responded that he was decades older than her. He knew she was a child, And when investigators asked him when Hailey would turn 18, he said, "I want her to be 18. But he couldn't wait. If you're watching this and you have kids, or you know someone who does, drop a comment below. What would you want parents to know about this case? Let's start a conversation that could actually save lives. So Thomas thought Session would protect him, thought law enforcement couldn't crack it. He was wrong. FBI forensic teams recovered deleted messages, images, and videos that Thomas tried to erase forever. On his phone, they found sexually explicit material of Hailey, taken at both his Columbus home and at an Airbnb he rented in Logan, Ohio. Some of the images were time-stamped January 6th, the same day she disappeared. But it gets so much worse. Investigators also found child sexual abuse material of another girl, estimated to be between 7 and 10 years old. This wasn't just about Hailey. Thomas had a pattern. And then there are the messages with another minor. According to the federal criminal complaint, Martin Thomas was messaging a teenager on Discord, a girl who told him she was in 10th grade, just like Hailey. In December 2025, just weeks before Hailey vanished, Thomas sent her disturbing messages asking if she harmed herself. He allegedly wrote that she would look good covered in red. He also told her he was having very dark but stimulating thoughts. I mean, come on. How does someone like this even exist? But here's what really exposes the timeline of what happened to Hailey. On the night of January 5th into the early morning of January 6th, Thomas drove from Columbus to Fortville, Indiana. License plate readers tracked his black 2014 Acura SUV. Before he even picked up Hailey, he stopped at an adult novelty store in Columbus called Lion's Den. Court documents confirm this. He then drove to Hailey's house, arriving around 3 to 3:30 a.m. She left with him willingly because she trusted him, because he'd spent over a year building that trust. They drove to an Airbnb in Logan, Ohio, about 50 miles southwest of Columbus. The reservation was for 2 guests, but when police asked Thomas about it, he claimed he was alone. FBI agents later searched that Airbnb. They found potential traces of blood throughout the residence. Crime scene analysis suggests that's where Hailey was killed. Then, on the morning of January 7th, Thomas's phone records show something chilling. His phone was near the North Country Trail trailhead in Wayne National Forest from about 9:25 a.m. until 2:15 p.m. That's nearly 5 hours. He spent 5 hours burying her dismembered body in the forest. If this case is making you feel something, anger, sadness, fear, share this video. Parents, teachers, friends of teenagers need to see this. Sharing could literally save someone's life.
Okay. Don't look at me, bro. I'm sorry. Okay. My name is Hailey, and I'm gonna be frolicking through the halls. Okay, you ready? Okay.
Here's the part that doesn't make sense to a lot of people. On February 1st, Tyler Thomas, through his attorney Sam Shemansky, helped law enforcement locate Hailey's remains. The FBI picked him up from Franklin County Jail. He, his lawyer, state and federal agents all drove together to Wayne National Forest, and Thomas pointed to the exact spot. Police removed snow and frozen dirt and found Hailey's dismembered remains. DNA testing confirmed it was her. So if he led them to the body, if he admitted to picking her up, to being at the Airbnb, to all of it, why hasn't he been charged with murder? Well, it's complicated. This case crosses multiple jurisdictions. Indiana, where Hailey lived, Hocking County, Ohio, where she was likely killed, Perry County, Ohio, where her body was buried, and the FBI because he crossed state lines. That creates legal complexities about where to file charges and what evidence is needed. There's also the possibility that Thomas is cooperating. His attorney made a big deal about his complete and unfettered cooperation in locating the body. But get this, Thomas's lawyer also said that if murder charges are filed, Thomas will plead not guilty. The attorney even made this weird distinction. He said there's a difference between being responsible for certain acts of which one is not proud and taking another's life. What does that even mean? When Columbus police detectives directly asked Thomas if he killed Hailey, he said, I think she is alive and safe. They pressed him. So you wouldn't tell me if you did? His response? No, I wouldn't tell you. I wouldn't say anything earlier because I want her to be 18 and not reach back to her family. That's seriously messed up. Investigators believe Hailey died within a few days of being picked up. None of her personal items were ever recovered, but Thomas is being held on a $1.5 million bond. On February 10th, federal charges were filed. Sexual exploitation of a minor and traveling across state lines with intent to engage in illicit sexual conduct. If convicted on those charges alone, he faces up to 30 years in prison on each count. That's 60 years total, and prosecutors have made it clear murder charges are expected. It's just a matter of when.
The decisions that you are considering today have the power to save children's lives.
Even as Rania and Bo Buzbee plan their daughter Hailey's funeral, they're lending their support to new rules for social media.
In the midst of the greatest crisis of our time, we are losing the fight to protect our children. The internet and social media are the devil's and predators' playgrounds, and it's on this front that we must fight.
Hailey did not meet the criteria for an Amber Alert, but state law has a category called high-risk missing persons. That includes anyone missing under inherently dangerous circumstances or due to abduction by a stranger. An amendment just filed would allow Amber Alerts for any high-risk missing person under age 18.
Now, here's something most coverage of this case glossed over. The Lion's Den stop. Thomas stopped at an adult novelty store before picking up Hailey. That shows this was premeditated. He knew what he was planning to do, the 2-guest Airbnb reservation. He booked it for 2 people even though he claimed to be alone. That proves he planned to bring her there. The 5-hour burial window. His phone was at that trailhead for nearly 5 hours. That's not a quick disposal. That's methodical. The blood throughout the Airbnb, not just in one room, throughout the residence. Whatever happened to Hailey in that cabin was violent. And the second victim, that 7 to 10-year-old girl whose images were on his phone. Hailey wasn't his only victim. These details paint a much darker picture than what most people saw in the headlines. But there's something powerful coming out of this tragedy. But Hailey's family is fighting for legislation called Hailey's Law. It has 2 main goals. First, create a pink alert system for missing children and teens who don't qualify for amber or silver alerts. Because Hailey left voluntarily, no alert was issued. The pink alert would close that gap. Second, mandate yearly online grooming education in Indiana schools. Kids need to understand the warning signs. They need to know that predators don't always look like strangers. Sometimes they're gamers in Discord servers. On February 10, 2026, an amendment to Indiana House Bill 1303 passed unanimously out of committee. It expands the definition of a missing child to include high-risk missing persons. The broader Hailey's Law, including the pink alert system and school education requirements, is still working its way through the legislature. Hailey's father, Bo Buzbee, said it perfectly. There's no higher priority than the safety of our children. If you think Hailey's Law should pass, if you believe awareness and education can prevent this from happening to another family, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Be part of the change. This case exposes the dark side of the digital world we live in. Gaming platforms, encrypted apps, predators hiding in plain sight, building trust over months and years. Hailey Buzbee was just 17. She had dreams, a future, people who loved her. Tyler Thomas saw an opportunity. He groomed her, manipulated her, took her across state lines, and destroyed her. The investigation continues. Justice is coming. But let's be real. Justice won't bring Hailey back. What we can do is learn. Protect the next kid. Have those uncomfortable conversations about online safety. Talk to your kids. Ask them who they're talking to online. Check their gaming friends. Look at their Discord servers. Because it only takes one predator. One manipulative conversation. One moment of trust. What's the scariest part of this case for you? Is it the grooming? The encrypted apps? The fact that he'd been meeting her in person for months? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you made it this far, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring about Hailey's story.
Okay. Don't look at me, bro. I'm sorry. Okay. My name is Hailey, and I'm gonna be frolicking through the halls. Okay, you ready?
Rest in peace, Hailey. We won't let your story be forgotten.